So, as he mentioned, we saw this movie 3 times. I have to say, um, on the first one, obviously, it is what the most hypest viewing.
There was no fucking chance you were not gonna like this movie. We can just get that. I say it right now. There's no fucking chance in any universe, any multiverse, that Omid Ryan Hajourny was not gonna glaze this movie. Let me just say that.
What's going on, guys? It's the What Do You Think crew. We are back for a new video on Deadpool and the Wolverine. It's me, Omid.
I'm Alvan.
It's me, Amir, guys.
We got the crew back. It is now, I think, a week after Deadpool and Wolverine has come out. As you guys can tell, X-Men shirt. Amir's got a Cyclops shirt. Alvan likes the X-Men. He partakes a little bit. So, as you guys know, we are a comic book channel, and we have a lot of thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. I believe it's crossed $700 million in the box office.
So 830.
Oh my god. So what we wanted this video to be is we haven't uploaded our review, but we want to just kind of talk briefly about our thoughts and kind of what things did work and what things didn't work, because it seems like this movie is quite polarizing. You have people who are loving this movie, and you have a lot of people I'm seeing on, like, I don't want to say film Twitter, but like on YouTube and Twitter, that are these comic book creators that are like content creators that are saying that the movie didn't work for them. So we have 3 people here. I think we're all on slightly different ends of the spectrum on the movie, so that's what we want to talk about here today. So how do we want to start this discussion off, boys?
So one thing I'll say, sorry, do you want to go first?
I think we just start off saying our views on the movie, just to kind of set the spectrum, right?
Yeah, because I was going to say the exact same thing. Like Omid is saying, we're all on different or varying points on the spectrum. And Alvan has seen it once. Omid and I have both now seen it a total of 3 times. And I know for me personally, my first time watching it, I was very negative on it. I was expecting certain things to happen. They didn't happen. And I think from the initial kind of gut reaction of plot and story, I had a lot of issues with it. But on the second rewatch, I really enjoyed it. I was like, it's a dumb, fun action movie. On the third one now, and I think this is me watching it with the clearest eyes, now I do have some more issues with the movie that I think cannot be shrugged off, because, like we were saying, this is hype aside, you know? This is 1 week after the movie, and now we have been sitting on our thoughts for a while, and I think everyone now, they wanted to watch it, kind of let the hype sit and kind of let it, like, marinate. And I know for me personally, I really enjoyed the movie, but overall, I don't think this is the home run that a lot of people are saying it is for not only the MCU, but I think just superhero movies in general. Because I think short term, it's going to do really well for, like, the superhero conversation. I don't think it's going to age incredibly well. But that's where I'll just start off with my opinions before we get into it.
So I won't really say what my opinions are just yet. I'll let kind of something speak for itself. So
hey, you have another thing too. You have another drink too.
I need a drink of water. So, as you guys can see here, for those who know me, my favorite character in literature is Wolverine. Wolverine means a lot to me. That is why, like Amir and I, we work out a lot. At least that's why I work out a lot. I want to look like Wolverine. He's a short comic book character who's jacked, and that's what I want to be. So, as he mentioned, we saw this movie 3 times. I have to say, on the first one, obviously, it is the most hypest viewing.
There was no fucking chance you were not gonna like this movie. We can just get that. I say it right now. There's no fucking chance in any universe, any multiverse, that Omid Ryan Hajourny was not gonna glaze this movie. Let me just say that. Alvan knows it's true. Yeah. The kid with the balloon knew it was true.
I went to the theaters a couple of hours actually early, because I think I didn't have class at the time, and I was like, all right. I went to go buy the popcorn bucket. I went to go buy a Deadpool cup, and I got Nick a head because he wanted the head pool. But I think, yeah, just quickly is obviously he's my favorite character. So watching it the first time, that is the most hype I was. And we all can say there are problems with the story, but I know just the fan servicey moments. Like, Amir was sitting next to me, and he know for a fact when they showed the first costume in that sea of montage, I was the first one in the theater to actually like, oh my god, verbally, because that is my favorite costume.
The brown one. You're talking about the brown one.
The brown one, yeah. So the brown one, because I didn't want to spoil it. But yeah, the brown costume. I love that Wolverine costume. Amir just was sitting next to me. I think he noticed just how happy I was when I was watching the movie. I had a smile on my face, and we watched it shortly after the next day with Alvin. It was just as fun. On the third one, I have to agree with Amir that it is now a week after the hype is kind of died down a little bit. That I always had problems with the story, but watching it again, I'm like, man, I really, as much as I had fun with it, and as awesome it is to see Wolverine shirtless, I love that shit. The story is very weak, and the villain is shit. So
Both?
I think in, huh? I think to be fair, yeah, both. At least I would say I laughed a little bit more with Mr. Paradox, but I do think in time, this movie probably will not have as fond a remembrance, but maybe that's just by the people who like the X-Men movies. I know general MCU fans, my friends who watched it, like, oh, 11 out of 10, 9 out of 10, they loved it. Alvin, you want to let people know what you think?
Yeah. So I'm kind of piggybacking off what you just said. General MCU fans enjoy this movie because I saw it once day, Friday, in IMAX. It was a pretty late showtime. It was like 10:20, and it was
Yeah.
packed. There was no empty seats.
Yeah.
So the group that I went with, it was like my friends Kevin, Justin, Nick, Kevin Yang, my sister, and I. And I would say out of all of them, I'm probably the most into comic books. Me and Kevin Leung are kind of like neck and neck. So after the movie ended, all of them, they all enjoyed it. I would say my sister enjoyed it the most. She loves this movie. She wants to watch it again.
Oh, wow.
But I know, yeah, I know you guys can attest because I ended up seeing you guys at the theater kind of randomly, but after the
Yeah.
theater met up and we had a conversation, you, me, Omid, and Keon, all four of us. And the first thing I did when I saw you was this.
Yeah.
2 thumbs down.
I knew he was going to do that shit.
My initial reaction was I told you this. I hated this movie. I hated it. Right?
Yeah, you
I
did not like it, which
did
I was
I did
expecting
no.
because what I'll say for Alvin, I don't want to cut you off too much, but Alvin is
No, no.
consistent. If there's one thing, Alvin
Yeah.
is consistent, and that was the first thing I told him when I saw him after the movie. I'm like, well, at least you're consistent because he does not like No Way Home, so
Oh.
that made a lot of sense that he did not like this one.
Yeah. I think I have a lot of issues with this movie that I can't overlook, but I will preface this by saying I'm so glad that a lot of other people are enjoying this movie, that it connects to them because it connected with a lot of my friends. But for me personally, this movie I think will age very poorly, very quickly. And this movie also, again, this is my opinion, but I think it really rides high on a lot of the gimmicks. And for me, I'm kind of just done with gimmicks now. I think it doesn't get me anymore. I don't get excited. Tell you guys this, right? We're going into full spoilers. I sat next to Kevin Yang, who's not really into it. He's probably the least into it out of all in my group. He went just because he wants to hang out with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when the cameos started coming literally across the screen and everyone in the auditorium was clapping and cheering, Kevin Yang did this, sat up, looked to me, and then I was not clapping, and he was just like, okay, because he would expect me to clap, right? If everyone else is clapping, why isn't Alvin not clapping? But I was not clapping, and I was just like, I literally made this face at him. I'm like, and then he
Was
like
it
started
because you
laughing, and
knew
then-
they were going to be in the movie, or it was you already checked out of the movie? That's an important question too.
I think it was
I think
both.
I think you expect them, but you didn't know them for a fact, right?
Yeah, you kind of heard rumors about it just because. Also, I think because we're so into movies,
The
we kind of
verse.
know. Yeah, we know who he's worked with, who Sean Levy has worked with
Yeah.
before, who he hasn't, and I think that was a big issue. Not big issue, but like that's something that we just need to work on, maybe because this happened the same thing with me for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Michael B. Jordan is not gonna miss a Coogler movie, and that was not a surprise when Killmonger showed up. And I will say a lot of the cameo surprises were not too surprising to me, based on the movies that Sean Levy has done and who he's worked with. So
Only
Agreed.
Wesley
I think
was surprising.
exactly. I think this movie did too many gimmicks, and I'm just jaded, maybe I'm done, but it just did not hit for me. The gimmicks did not land for me. Focus on telling a good story that serves the characters and the cameos, the small roles, rather than just having them in there for the sake of selling and marketing a movie.
100%.
I think we all can agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think one thing that I hope a lot of people, because you can, like, this can be your favorite Deadpool movie. Like, you can love this movie, which is perfectly fine. But I think as long as you are aware of the issues, because this is one thing I really want to go into on certain moments. Like, me and I have been talking about moments in this movie that are cool, but do not make sense story wise. And a lot of this movie, which is a big issue of mine, it's like, it's tell, don't show the movie. They don't ever show you anything of like true significance to get a real emotion out of you. Because like you're saying, the gimmicks didn't work for you. We watched it with our older brother yesterday, Bijan, and he said the same thing. He's like, "Oh, the burnout is real," and he's like, I felt nothing during this movie. And on the third watch, and I was like, man, I really wish that they could have gave more meat onto the bones of Hugh Jackman's character, Wolverine, in this movie, because he is a caricature of what Wolverine is. So that's why I'm so surprised when I'm seeing people online saying like, uh, X2 is the best movie with Hugh Jack, or is the best like superhero movie with Hugh Jackman in it, right? And they're saying Logan is the best movie, like the best movie, right? They're saying this is the best Wolverine that Hugh Jackman has been. Like, oh, this feels the most like the comics. And I'm like, from the comics that I've been reading with Wolverine in it, they're not Wolverine comics, they're X-Men comics, but he feels more layered, has much more depth and nuance to him. Because in this movie, he is a shut the fuck up machine, and then very, very small moments he'll trauma dump on the audience that wants us to feel that. One of my friends was saying they do the similar thing in Logan, where they're like, oh, they're telling you all the backstory, and they don't show it. Like Owen and I were talking about this. I think the difference with Logan to here is even if you don't see the X-Men getting killed by Charles Xavier, you know the weight and the scale and the stakes of it. You see that Charles Xavier is sedated by his meds. You see that he's trapped in the water tower, so he loses his connection to other people in case he does have his powers. And we do get to see later on in the movie, once he does have his seizure, you see the actual depth and damage of his powers. So we don't need to see the X-Men. We already know, because they're saying mutants are extinct, we feel that weight. That cannot be said for this movie because we never see Wolverine's world. We're in Deadpool's movie. We're in Deadpool's universe, and then in the void the rest of the movie. But I think Omi had a rebuttal, so let's hear it, dude.
Not a rebuttal. So there's something I was gonna agree with you with. I think I have been seeing some people saying like, "Oh, this is the best Wolverine performance we've ever had," and I think that's the farthest from the truth for sure. Like in this, as we said, he's just angry in this movie, and I think, because I have read Wolverine books. I have a couple under my bed right now. I think the Wolverine I've read, he's not really essentially. Oh,
they're a little sticky too.
No. What's it called? The Wolverine I've read though, he's not always this one-note angry person. I think he's actually very subdued and kind of he wants to find his peace. So I feel like for this Wolverine, they could have went somewhere super interesting with this. Like I think the idea of him kind of fucking over his world could have been really interesting. I think, and I told Amber, I think the way they could have done it is like, because obviously Wolverine's always an animal, and they allude to it that the humans have killed the mutants, and Wolverine goes on a rampage and starts killing both innocent and guilty people. What I thought would be a better way to do it is if, since Wolverine's whole idea is being a weapon, because I'm guessing it's similar to the Old Man Logan, is that he in some way gets tricked or manipulated or controlled into killing all of the X-Men. And now, so I can just imagine a final shot in it where it's just Wolverine taking on Cyclops, and you just see Cyclops like on the end of it, and like you see his hair coming out of his cowl, like telling Logan like, "Don't do this. This isn't who you are." And Wolverine is just in a berserker rage. So you can actually kind of show more of that, because they showed in Logan, but they showed in such a small scene. Like get a extended sequence of Wolverine taking on the X-Men. You can believe it, that like, man, this Wolverine destroyed his world, rather than, oh, he just killed some innocent humans. But I mean, and like I do think overall Hugh Jackman, he will always be good as Wolverine, but it just seemed like for this they weren't interested in really kind of pushing his limits. I also saw people were saying, oh, this is Wolverine finally got his happy ending, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. I think Logan was his happy ending because he learned what it means to be a family, to be loved, and to love someone. I feel like that's a happy ending, regardless if he lives or dies. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think obviously we all wish Shira had a stronger story, and I wish Hugh Jackman had more to do. But I will argue, I think this is the best Ryan Reynolds has ever been as Deadpool. I think this possibly is the funniest of the three. because I think it had. And also, what's really interesting too is that it's unfortunate that both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman both got hoed, uh, with both their movies being around during the writer's strike,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
honestly
kind of a bummer.
crazy.
It's such a
Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah,
That's such a bummer. And also,
yeah,
Liev Schreiber, why the fuck wasn't he in this movie? Make it a X-Men Origins Unite. They made that a joke in the Zoom.
yeah. I mean, you can say that about a lot of stuff. Where it's like, why wasn't X in this movie, but they chose to go with Y.
Yeah,
And I agree with you about the writer's strike. It's crazy how
a
it's just
bummer.
cyclical. Um, I don't know, man. I don't want to come off as a hater. I think this is the weakest one of the three. Deadpool
Hundred
2 is
percent.
my
Hundred
favorite.
percent.
Deadpool 1, then this one. Because to me, I told this to Amir, dude, on Saturday, Omid, I think you were at school, but on Saturday, the day
Yesterday?
after I saw the movie, no, no,
Oh
no.
yeah, yeah.
Remember
When
the
me and
day
you had
after
the
I saw
call.
it?
Yeah.
We had like a 90-minute call of just like
Yeah.
discussing the movie. And like it was a great call, but like to me, this is not a Deadpool 3. This is not Deadpool 3. This is a filler movie, Deadpool and
Uh,
Wolverine,
for sure,
right?
that's what Sean Levy was saying. Yeah, it's not a Deadpool 3, and I think when you say it's the weakest of the Deadpools, I think it's important to also kind of understand what each Deadpool is trying to do, because I think for sure writing, like, story wise, I think this has the weakest story, but I think on entertainment and on humor, I think this is one of the strongest of the three, because I was telling this to Amir, like, it's obviously unfortunate Vanessa isn't in this movie. She's also barely in the second one. That's why I think the first one's the best, because she's the most of a character in the first one. As the movie goes on, they kind of make her a plot device. It sounds like both of you guys don't agree with that, which, I
I
mean,
think
I
I
guess
think
you
she
just
has.
want her to shine for,
No, no,
for
that's
turning into John
no,
Wick.
no, that's not what we're saying. I think even though maybe her screen time is reduced in two, her significance I think is greatly felt throughout the entire movie. I think Alvin can say it too, like because I think you
The
are
only
100%
thing,
right. No, you're. I don't want to argue the specifics of those two movies, but I think you're 100% right in feeling because I know you have Alvin and I are in the minority of liking Deadpool 2 more than 1. I think you liking Deadpool 1 is perfectly valid, but I think with this movie in particular, like you're saying, is they all are aiming to do different things for their movies, right? And like you're saying, this
yes.
audience joy is very, very successful in it. But what I'll say, because I was talking to my coworker, shout out to Bjorn, is I think Deadpool and Wolverine feels like what I think people assume what Deadpool 1 and 2 are. Like, it's just dumb action. I turn my brain off and I'm laughing the whole time. But I think the three of
I agree.
us can completely attest to how emotional and personal those movies are. Like, Omi keeps talking about how tragic it is for Wade Wilson in the first movie going through cancer and having his partner by his side, seeing him decrepit, and that's tragic. Deadpool 2 is saying things about him building a family, finding his family. Deadpool and Wolverine is, and we were talking about this when we saw the marketing. We saw all the posters, these trailers, like, man, the only thing we're seeing is Deadpool
Fighting
and
on is
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
And after watching this movie, I think the three of us can all agree that is the gimmick of the movie. Not that that is a bad gimmick, but this movie, Sean Levy was not interested in making, like you're
A
saying, Deadpool
heartfelt
3.
story.
Not at all. It was about doing fan wish fulfillment and making Wolverine come back, giving him the iconic yellow suit. Because Omid, I'm telling you, he creamed his fucking chair when he saw Wolverine's shirt burst, and then you see the abs. Like, this movie
Oh yeah,
is,
oh yeah.
it's a love letter to Wolverine fans for sure.
There were two times. I think it was the first time when he ripped off his sleeve. I remember I leaned. I don't even think I think I just said it out loud. I was like, "Damn, his arms look. His like arms are huge." And then when his shirt rips off, and when you see Deadpool, like, go, kind of check him out, and not like, dude, that was all of us. Like, I live for that shit, man. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, I can't deny the story is black, is like thin as shit. I think just the excitement and the fun of it, and maybe it will wear off in time, and it probably will.
Because I know, Omid, I was asking you this question, Alvin. I want to ask this to you because we were talking about this throughout the week, and you were saying this is me being the nerdy, nitpicky kind of like yeah, nitpicking kind of moment of there's a when Wolverine is saving
Mm.
what's his Wolverine and Deadpool are fighting all of the Deadpool Corps, right? and he puts his mask on, which is a great moment. But I was telling Omid that the movie really forgets the kind of emotional journey that Wolverine is going through, because he says, Deadpool's like, oh, do you save the best stuff for last or whatever, something like that. And then when he puts the mask on, he's like,
save the good stuff for special occasions?
Yeah, there you go. Save it for special occasions. And he's like, for killing mostly. And that's supposed to be played as a very heroic moment. But I know for me personally, I'm like, why is that the thing he would say when throughout the entire movie he's explaining why he felt guilty for murdering innocent people? And he kept saying, like, earlier in the movie, he said, oh, this suit means something. I am an X-Men. I am the X-Men. Which to me rings hollow, too, when you're seeing this version of Wolverine, where it's like you were saying you were useless. You didn't want to be an X-Men. So those moments to me, I'm like, all right, he's a murderer. Why would he say that? Why is the movie playing it like a hero moment? But yeah, I'll let Alvan chime into it.
All Wolverine murders. In every single X-Men movie, he's killed people.
No, but this is glorifying it for like you're saying Wolverine is about finding peace. You're saying he's about finding. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
You're saying it's glorifying it. That's the
no, that line. That line, because like you're saying, Wolverine is about finding peace, right? He's lived for 200 fucking years, like he said in this movie. He's lived through wars, so I don't think Logan as a character would essentially like that would be what he says, like, oh, I'm enjoying killing, right? But Alvan, what are your thoughts? Is that am I nitpicking there?
Fine.
Am I nitpicking?
So I'm not gonna answer if you're nitpicking or not, because I think that's the fundamental thing that I'm not gonna say is wrong with the movie, but if you think about the movie more, there's just logic holes the more you think about it. Because
it's like
because
No Way Home.
Yeah, exactly. That's my feeling about No Way Home. I have not rewatched No Way Home in the full entirety since it came out in theaters.
Same.
I've seen that movie twice in theaters, right? And I brought this up to you last week, Amir, and I think if I bring it up to Omid, it's going to ruin his perception of the movie. But when Cassandra puts her finger in this Logan's mind, why is he having memories of Logan if that's not the same Logan?
Yes, Alvan, go off, bro.
I talked about it.
Right?
It's not cooking.
That doesn't make any sense.
Here. This is a cold take. No, I know that shit makes zero sense. Cassandra Nova's whole character makes zero sense.
No, it has nothing to do with Cassandra Nova. It's about Wolverine.
This
has to do with the story and the writing.
No, I agree. What doesn't make sense is, obviously, well, I mean, because didn't they also show Days of Future Past in there too? Because that is a different Wolverine than Logan too. So that also ties to Logan.
I don't even know if he should have any of these memories, because
at all.
This is not the same Logan.
He shouldn't. What the movie should have done, it pulled an Apocalypse where it made fun of itself. It made a joke, and by doing it, it fulfilled a prophecy, because remember on X-Men Apocalypse, say, oh, the third movie's always the worst. X-Men Apocalypse was for sure the worst of the three at the time it came out. But they say, oh, they're not going to have
this also proves it too.
That proves it too, but they didn't say that joke in the movie to make fun of itself. They made fun of themselves by saying
multiverse.
A no third act flashback, and we actually needed that. Like, that would have been really strong to see Wolverine kill everybody. And like, because we didn't get that in Logan, and I think if you got that in this, it would have been really sad to see him kill all of these Foxman characters.
No,
I cannot imagine.
You're talking about Logan or this Wolverine? Because he doesn't kill any of the X-Men. He kills humans.
Yeah, either show that
Logan,
or I think
he didn't kill X-Men. That was Charles.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying how I would have written this was you have him kill the X-Men, because that's something so egregious. Rather than going to a bar and, I guess, letting people die because you're drunk, that's fucking stupid.
And also, Storm and Jean are Omega level mutants. So you're saying humans were able to stop them? And if humans were able to stop them, what the fuck is Wolverine gonna do?
Tis true.
Right.
Tis true.
Yeah.
As a Wolverine fan, I understand Wolverine is not the center of the universe, and he's not the end all be all. He'll get mollywopped by more than half the X-Men. He's like a C tier level mutant. But I think obviously this movie isn't really a love letter to Fox. It's a love letter to Hugh Jackman and to Wolverine fans. So
and Ryan.
I think all of us just wish it was a stronger story. But
yeah, and bringing up the fact that you literally just said it's not a love letter to Foxmen, we texted, oh, Alvin, are you excited about Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine? I'm like, yes, I'm rewatching all the Foxmen movies.
Yes.
I
He
told
said
you,
it the night of. He said it the night of. I was like, Alvin, you ready? Oh yeah, I watched everything. I'm all ready. I'm like, fuck.
right?
Also, too,
And
I was
the fact,
asking Alvin when we're walking in. I'm like, all right, Alvin, just let me know which cameos are going to be in the movie. Alvin, you can let them know what your answer was.
I forgot what I said. I think I, so did I
He
say
said all the X-Men
Spider?
for sure.
You said at least the
He said for
original
sure all the
three.
X-Men.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I think
And
for
then
sure.
Yeah.
He didn't say Spider-Man.
I said no. I said I think I remember saying to you and Keon, I'm like, if they really want to show that this is now set, quote, set in the MCU. This movie was advertised as saying Deadpool's entrance into the MCU. He's still in his own universe, but that's besides the point, right? I said if they really want to illustrate that this movie is now in the MCU, it would be ballsy if they show like something like Spider-Man or some type of hero where other audiences have an attachment to, but obviously we didn't get that, and obviously we didn't get any of the Foxmen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, we
You
should
get
have.
you get Channing Tatum Gambit, which is
He
a
was fun.
He
side
was good
joke.
though. He was good though.
He was
He's
good.
He's great.
he was great, but like the fact that you choose, the fact that you have an already established Gambit in the Foxmen universe. I'm not saying to choose Taylor Kitsch, but the fact that they're using another character that was already established in the Foxmen universe rather than using Scott, Jean, right, Beast, Charles, Eric,
Storm.
right? Where's Kurt
Well,
Wagner?
I wouldn't want to
Where's
see. I wouldn't want to see Patrick again
Wagner?
because they already ruined him in Doctor Strange.
Use
I
this
would have
as
loved to see.
redemption.
I would have loved to see Michael
James.
Fassbender because no, if you bring back
Yes.
Patrick, it's like then you really are just redoing Logan. I think you should
I
for
agree.
sure have had Storm and
Yeah.
Cyclops. Those are the two main, and then you can also have Jean too. But I don't want to have to deal with this love triangle between Cyclops, Jean, and Wolverine. I think it'd be kind of cool if it was mainly just Cyclops and Storm. You can just say Phoenix gave her life in the Phoenix Force. Um, but it would have been really cool to just see, like Amir said this, like, oh, instead of having, because I mean, obviously we love X-23. I have a Logan poster in my room. Instead of having her kind of lead the insurgents, was if you had James Marsden, Cyclops, kind of leading it, and like, it would have been sick. It would have been sick because like when you watch the credits of this movie, you see, like that's probably my favorite part of the, probably the favorite part of all of the movie for all of us is just seeing all those scenes of those movies that we grew up watching as kids. That was shout out to my friend Mina. He's like only 20. So when he saw the movie, I asked him, I was like, hey, did you get all the references? He's like, no, I didn't. I was like, did you get Channing Tatum? He's like, no, why was he Gambit? I told him, like, oh, that was a movie that was announced a while back, like 2015, 2016, that the script was all done. It just fell apart, and that's why they brought him back. And he didn't know that, like, at least just for us, and I mean for a lot of people on the internet, like these X-Men movies, these were for us, like because Avengers come out. Like, I've always liked the X-Men more than the Avengers. I've always liked the X-Men more than the Avengers. I think Alvin probably likes the Avengers more.
He appreciates. I think he appreciates both of them.
Yeah, appreciated both of them, and just kind of seeing the credits, like it just makes you kind of wish what the movie could have been. But what people are saying is maybe they're just gonna come in Avengers, and if that's true, then I'll be happy to see them then. I want to see James Marsden, I want to see Storm, and I'm like, if they're leading to Secret Wars, that would be the only way you incorporate the X-Men because they don't have time to recast and start pitching a new X-Men movie. So I think it's guaranteed we're gonna start seeing more of the actual X-Men. Which that kind of gets me excited.
Wait, you're saying the old one, the old actors are going to be the new X-Men?
Yeah, I think no, in the new Avengers because the movie comes out in 2 years, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't think they have time.
Yeah,
make a new
it's going to be
team.
The old actors in Secret Wars for sure. And just to go back on what you were saying for Cyclops, I think because everyone knows me, they know I love Cyclops. I'm a big fan of Cyclops, and this is one thing that kind of came back to me as a kid. I'm like, man, I remember so many times going to the movies, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to see what awesome scene Cyclops gets, and that never really happened. Like X2, he was cool in it, but he wasn't in it enough. I remember as a kid in X3, I don't remember if I cried or not actually in the beginning of the movie of Cyclops getting killed. I'm like, wow, my favorite character is not in the rest of the movie. Okay, cool. And then he was in Origins, but we didn't watch that in theaters. Days of Future Past, they brought back all the actors. I'm like, all right, I can't wait to see a really cool moment of Cyclops. Even his cameo at the end was nothing. Everyone else got really cool moments.
I guess he was dead in the.
No, but even when in the perfect future, it was still about him and Wolverine.
Like Storm had a cool moment is because Cyclops is already dead.
Yeah, he's already dead.
And then Charles alive, so
yeah,
get wrecked.
and then it just kept happening. Where I know that's why the first time I saw this, it was like I don't know if it was maybe an hour and a half through the movie because Omid and Alvan they know. Like Alvan had a joke of, "Hey Amir, I'm gonna miss almost every week whenever we would see each other. You would be asking me like, hey, do you think Cyclops is gonna be in the movie?" And I 100% thought it was going to happen. I think all of us are like, for sure, this is a Foxman movie.
I can't silly see one of the Foxmen.
And I think of all of the characters, it made the most sense because if this movie is about like redemption and like getting your happy ending, I'm like, you don't even need to bring back all of them. It could literally just be Cyclops because everyone knows that he was dealt such such a bad hand. I think Ty Sheridan actually did really well from the moments that he had. That's why I really love Apocalypse. Fuck you. That's why I really love Apocalypse. He has a lot of really, really great moments for Cyclops fans to finally get. But I think this is a fun movie. But one of the biggest issues that I kind of wanted to go into is like, I don't know if you guys all had your own ways of fixing this movie. But for me personally, because Omid was saying, judging the movie on what it could have been. And obviously we're not trying to do that because like that's not how reviewing movies works. But I think one of the ways that I would have fixed it, that could have been a very small change that I think could have motivated the whole movie. Because that was our big issue with this is there's really no good reason for a lot of stuff that are happening, right? Paradox is saying once an anchor being dies, your universe will collapse, right? And you're like, oh shit, the universe is, or their timeline is going to be wiped away in like a week or so. And he's like, no, it happens in a couple of thousand years. So that already undercuts the whole.
It takes away the tension.
It takes away the tension. So he's saying, I want to prune it and be the mercy killer, but they don't give any good reason for why he believes that. So I was saying a small thing they could have done for Mr. Paradox that would make him infinitely better is say, because he's managing the multiverse, right? Since the multiverse is like, and they made it like a retro kind of old-timey office, make it like a database. They have like hard drives, storage, like a cloud, right? It can't hold all this memory, so that's why they got to erase it. Like, oh, universes are consistently being born every second. Since your universe is wiped away, it was bought by the merger, these characters don't matter anymore. That already gives him motivation to, that's why we're wiping away the universe. And for Deadpool, what I would have done is I think you should have made him the reason why their universe is collapsing, right? He doesn't need to be the anchor being. They don't need, if they want to keep that, that's fine. But I think they should have done a similar arc to what Lightning McQueen was in Cars 1, right? The idea of the grass is always greener elsewhere. We're seeing that he's tied to this Fox universe, and he's being told for the longest time that he doesn't matter. I think this would have been amazing if he gets to internalize and kind of show that feeling of years of Fox fans being told, it's not owned by Disney, it's not a part of the MCU, you don't fucking matter. So I would have loved if him leaving his universe to jump into the MCU, he thought it was going to be this grand kind of treatment, and it would finally make him feel whole, but he realizes that he still feels empty, and then you can kind of now make him want to undo his mistake. Because in this movie, by the end of Act 1, which is when he is talking to Paradox, he already knows what he wants to do. My universe is getting wiped away, I need to save them. Gets sent to the Void. He's doing the Void things just to get back to save his home. He's doing the same thing the entire movie, and for the audience, he's incredibly stale. Like, his jokes are great, but he doesn't change as a character. And we were saying this is not Deadpool 3. I think this truly does feel like it's a co-led movie, and that is an issue with the focus. Is they don't get to let Deadpool have a lot of the kind of moments that you would need for like a traditional single protagonist of like, all right, they're coming up, like, all things go well, all things go fall apart, and then he can kind of come back together and have an arc. But those are some things that I would have thought that even if I'm keeping the story intact for the most part, those are some little things that I think would have added so much more depth. And then Wolverine, I think we kind of went into how we would have fixed him, but I don't know if you guys had other theories as well.
I agree with what you said. I think for sure Deadpool is pretty much on the same path from the very beginning to end, so it's not really much of a change. That I didn't necessarily agree with the idea of him wanting to be in the MCU then to leave and say, oh, my own universe is good. I think I like the idea of him wanting to save his own universe. I think what the movie should have done was essentially kind of keep reminding us of the stakes, or like maybe just you keep going back to his family, and kind of you see as time is progressing and how is getting more and more unstable, to kind of remind the audience like, oh shit, this is why he's doing what he's doing. Because obviously when Wolverine and Deadpool go in the void, they mention like once or twice like, oh, it's him to save his family, but it also feels like the movie trying to say, oh, Wolverine, why are you the way you are the way you are? And I feel like that kind of detracts it, because it becomes kind of like a side mission where like, all right, Wolverine, I want to know why you're so dark and why you're so depressed. And then we come in to Cassandra Nova, and her motivation, I don't even understand it, is I'm guessing just to rule the void. And then when she finds out that Pyro was working with Mr. Paradox to, I guess, I don't even know,
Leave.
cut her out of the void or something.
He wanted to
And then she's
leave.
like, all right, he wanted to leave. And then she was like, all right, I almost, her powers, don't even get me started on her powers. I
Yeah.
can't understand what her powers are, because is it through telepathy? Is it telekinesis? Is it regeneration? Is it matter manipulation? Like, I don't understand what it is. And the idea is like, oh, put a helmet on her, then you shut off all of her powers. It makes no sense to me. So like when you see a pyro, a shooter, and they have helmet on, she's about to die, and Wolverine like 2 seconds before is like, oh, I'll kill her, double, I'll kill her. Like, that's fine. I get they're gonna do that. And then once they see she's about to die after getting shot, Wolverine now does a complete 180 and say, no, we have to save her. And when he says, oh, if we take off the helmet, are you going to let us live? And she said, no, I'll kill you immediately. And then they take off the helmet. She doesn't kill them immediately. She lets them leave. And then she does a total 180 of saying, all right, I'll let you guys leave. And then 2 minutes later, she's like, you know, actually, I saw you guys have a machine that destroys timelines. I want to destroy every timeline but my void timeline. I'm like, what the fuck did I miss? Like, uh, what happened? Like, all these motivations make zero sense to me. And I think it needed a couple of more passes. 'Cause I mean, I like that the movie's 2 hours. Like, as a fan, I'm gonna say like, oh, I enjoy all the time between Deadpool and Wolverine, because like they really do vibe off each other very well. Like I said, I think this is the strongest Deadpool has been, because not only is I think he's funny, but when he has kind of, it becomes less, I think, of a shtick for Deadpool when he kind of has someone else to bounce off of. Because I think like, oh, just when Wolverine's arguing, it's like, oh, you can't talk, and then Deadpool's like, all right, I won't talk, and it's like he knows how to push his buttons very well, and I think you see that through the mask, and it's great. It's the story that's the biggest problem, that like I just don't understand why people are doing and saying the things that they're doing and saying. What you got? How would you fix it?
I haven't thought about too much how I'd fix it, but I think going on what you say, where the story is the problem, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but for me, when I'm, looking at reviews or like on Reddit on those threads, a lot of people are not talking about the story, but they're talking about their favorite parts. So, like, for example, Mr. Sunday Movies and Meso, they reviewed it on their podcast recently, and I listened to it, and they feel like me, but also they don't touch upon the story. Like, a lot of the reviews that I've seen do not bring up the story at all, and a lot of the things that these critics are basing their preference on is just whether they enjoyed what they saw on the screen. They're not really thinking about it too much after the fact.
Critically.
And maybe exactly. And maybe I'm kind of just looking too deep into it, because when I was saying that I didn't like the movie to like Nick and Justin, um they were like, oh, I can see that, but also like this is a Deadpool movie, and it kind of accomplished what it was set out to do. But also I think that argument is a little bit invalid, because that's kind of making the other two Deadpool movies, you're devaluing them, I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think those two movies actually are the bright spots of like this Fox X-Men universe. They're one of the brighter spots, and I think they have really great emotional beats and character beats. And it's really unfortunate that those two parts didn't really translate over for me into this one. In terms of fixing it, I agree with you guys, where I think I felt nothing about this Logan. Like, he was saying all these things, but I think it would have been stronger if they created new scenes. Like, when she puts her finger in his head, how about you show him actually doing these actions,
Yes.
rather than just saying, "Oh, I can help you. I can fix it." Blah blah blah. Like, I think it would be so much more ballsy, and just like it would hit home more if they just didn't rehash scenes from the other Foxman movies and riding off of their coattails, making the audience feel something because they recognize something that they see.
That's fair.
It actually would hit harder if Sean Levy wrote and directed new scenes for this Wolverine to kind of show the consequences of his actions, right?
100%.
And I think
That I love that. And, actually, I think maybe they were so scared to touch the legacy of Logan that they were like, oh, we can't deviate too much from the path, that both through the internet and through the fandom, that they wouldn't have they would. 'Cause I can also imagine if they gave us what I wanted, where you see Wolverine actually do bad shit, that people are like, oh, that's not Wolverine. Wolverine would never do that. Like, I can see people being so precious of the character, say, oh wow, when you now bring him back to then essentially sully his image at a time, obviously because they're going to be redeeming him. I can see people not wanting that, and I think probably they were scared to actually push they were scared to push Wolverine to limits, because I think that's what makes Wolverine. Really, that's why I love Wolverine so much. He's such a resilient character. Like, as I was reading the Weapon X book, is the idea of like when they were testing his combat abilities, and like, oh, they left him outside in the cold, and they're like, oh, do you want to bring him in? And I forgot what it was. Just thinking, it was Cornelius or something, Dr. Cornelius. He said, no, leave him outside there. Like, this will teach him. It was like just this pseudo torturing of it.
Breaking him down.
Wolverine just goes through breaking down his spirit. Like, but Wolverine is just so resilient as a character that I think it would have been awesome to see Sean Levy actually write and direct new Wolverine scenes. Like, that would have been sick.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of felt a little bit of the same way they treated Toby in No Way Home, where he's such a beloved character, but when they bring him in, they don't really discuss too much of what he's done between Spider-Man 3 and No Way Home.
Yeah.
And I think that's because maybe I don't know why.
I think that actually,
that's
I'm
very-
happy they didn't. I don't want them to fuck that shit up. Because it's like,
Yeah,
if they're going to progress the story of that character, I'd rather it be done in their movie. But,
yeah.
yeah.
I just don't see there being like I don't see there being another solo Wolverine movie to explore these things. So this is the only opportunity they get. They should have done it,
Mhm.
right? Rather than just not doing it, let it pass them and just tell them what happened. I think as a filmmaker, you should kind of commit to the story you want to tell. And if there's something you want to tell with this character and you just don't show it, but you just kind of like imply that something has happened, I don't really like, why should I care, right?
That's fair. But I will say, I do see them doing a Deadpool and Wolverine 2.
I hope not. I don't think so. Because I
It
don't
made
think...
$1 billion. They're greenlighting a sequel. It made $1 billion.
I don't even know.
Ant-Man got 3 movies.
But look at Ryan Reynolds.
Like,
Ryan Reynolds is saying how hard it was for him to crack the story for this, and it only worked because of Hugh Jackman. I don't think
That is
Hugh...
can I
that
just
is
say,
evident.
that is crazy to me. That is crazy that this
Did I admit
movie
that?
came, right? No. The fact that Hugh was retired for 5 years, right? And this is the reason he came back. You're telling me this is the story that brought him out of retirement? Come
That's
on.
exactly what I wanted to
No,
ask
I'm
you.
gonna
So
say
do you
that-
think it's
I'm
a
gonna say-
mistake? Do you think it's a mistake for him coming back?
No, because obviously, sure, the story's weaker, but he did it because he knows what the fans wanted to see. I wanted to see a yellow Wolverine too. I think seeing him put on the cowl,
Should
that's
they say
fucking
that
awesome.
for MCU Wolverine though?
Fuck them. It would mean, fuck the MCU Wolverine. It's Hugh Jackman supremacy.
It's not his character though.
It's not his character, but I mean, if it's with Ryan Reynolds, obviously, like, because when I'm watching this movie, I think this a lot to myself, like, oh, it is kind of cool that for the third one, they really finally get Wolverine, because 1 and 2 make so many jokes about Wolverine and Hugh Jackman, and it's finally kind of cool to see it pay it off. And
Fair.
it's like, I love the line with with Ryan Reynolds, like, oh, I waited really long for this team, because it worked both for Deadpool and for Ryan. Like, oh, he'd been really pushing to get him in it. So I think, sure, is this movie what we want it to be story-wise? No, but I can't deny the fact that Hugh Jackman, sure, he got paid a crazy amount for this movie, but I do think it came from a place where, like, oh, fans have always said they wanted to see me have the yellow suit. They want to see me do things that Wolverine's never done before. And he did it, and he did the variants. Like, I love all that stuff. So
On all fours
I
when
can
he's
imagine-
in their first fight.
all
I love
fours.
that. That was
running on all fours. Like, I love that stuff. Like, it's like what Owens, when we were having our movie fight, like, I wanted I was pitching my Deadpool 3 as kind of like a somber goodbye. And everyone's like, you had your crying fest with Logan, make it a celebration. And even though it's a weaker story, it is a celebration to both Deadpool and Wolverine with all the costumes, all the fun that's in there. It feels like a Deadpool comic book, like less shitty than Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, because that is just so balls to the wall crazy. But this feels like a Deadpool comic book to me. So, or not to hijack it, but I don't think it's a mistake, even if the story's weaker. He did it because he wanted to show us something that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Alvin?
Yeah. I don't think it's a mistake, but yeah, no, I just don't think it's a mistake. I don't have anything else to say after that because I'm not trying to be too negative because
that was a mic drop right there, man.
I saw this interview where yes, he was retired. He went out on a really high note with Logan, but Hugh Jackman on record has said he does regret two things going into retirement. One, not doing a Deadpool movie, and the other one, not doing an Avengers movie. And the reason I believe he came back is because now he's able to do both of them. Right. Yeah. And then he's able to cement his status as GOAT. Right? GOAT comic book actor.
It's been cemented since Days of Future Past. He made the best movie of all time.
Yes, that is a factual statement, but to him, in his eyes, that will cement him in number one.
I did everything I wanted to for this character.
For the character, yeah, right? Which I respect because he did it on his own terms, but also, I guess it was the money. I guess the joke is
Marvel money pays
until he's 90, right? Right.
Yeah. But like, see, to me it feels less maybe because he was retired. Well, Robert Downey Jr. retired 2 years after, and he's coming back.
He retired in 2019.
Like, why does it feel why does it feel scummier for Robert? Because I mean, they didn't disclose how much Hugh Jackman's getting paid, but like they said, Robert Downey Jr. is getting paid $80 million, right?
Oh, more than that, significantly more.
That's fucking crazy. Like, I mean, what I think what to take away for, like, I remember when he did Logan, he said he took a pay cut to make the movie rated R. So I feel like it just seems like maybe he's not as scummy. I feel like maybe he got paid a lot, but I don't know. It's like a tangent, but like why does it feel so scummy for Robert Downey Jr. to come back as Iron Man?
Because he's not coming back as Iron Man.
Yeah, because it just feels desperate. We talked about this. We talked about this last week.
We'll put the link in the description too.
Click here, huh?
But Hugh Jackman was just goated. Hugh Jackman's been goated.
Yeah, and I don't want to be the negative one in this group, but because it has been a week, and I did give it a 5. Full disclosure, I gave it a 5. But
out of 10.
You are a hater.
Yeah, out of 10. But shut up, Owen. Shut up, dude. I think you can focus on the bad parts, and to me, there are a lot of stuff that didn't land, but the stuff that lands, it's really high highs. Like even when I saw you guys on Tuesday, right? Even when I saw you guys on Tuesday, there were clips that we were just rewatching from the movie. The opening scene is probably my favorite of the trilogy.
For sure,
right?
So you don't think that's disrespectful? Because now I'm like, I kind of see like, man, they shouldn't have done that. It's like, it feels weird. It's like, all right, he didn't even get a rest in peace. He rests in pieces.
I think so. I said this to you when we walked out of the theater on the opening day. I was very trepidatious as soon as the opening shot is like him in the forest and they're digging up that skeleton. I'm like, oh, I thought they said they weren't doing it, but the fact that they committed to not doing it to show how it's not the same one, I respected it. But if it was like, I mean, the opening scene was dope. I love the
imagery. The imagery itself is just the shock of it is crazy. Like I did not go into this movie thinking that they're gonna dig up the corpse of my favorite character, but I'm like, when I'm watching, like, oh, it's kind of crazy. Like, oh, he uses his skull and hits a guy, and you see the flesh rip off, and it says Hugh Jackman. I'm like, I can't help but smile because I'm like, I get they're poking fun of it. They're poking fun at my character, and I love him so much that I can laugh at what they're doing because I think it's not coming from a place of actual disrespect. I think it's giving him reference by poking fun at it.
And I think for me, maybe the biggest issues of the movie are when it goes to MCU, right? It goes too much MCU. That's when I'm out of it. But when it's stuck into Deadpool, I love the movie. I loved it when he, used the time machine, but that Cable did to go to the MCU, and he got rejected, right?
Well, so
That's
it
a
didn't make
great
any sense to
scene.
me. I'm curious. So why was it March 14th, 2018? Because I was talking to Omid and Nick about this yesterday. That date is before Deadpool 2 came out, which is weird if they chose that date. But then the Fox merger happens after that, but it's
So
before
they announced the
Endgame.
merger. They announced the merger in 2017, and I
So
think
why
they
not
have
why
it
not make it
March.
the same date? Like, so you would be able to look it up and know what they're referencing. Because I have no idea why it's
Because
that
Tony
date.
has to be alive. Yeah. So Tony has to be alive. I think it has to be after the announcement of the merger, and they don't tell us what year Deadpool 2 takes place. That's my understanding of it. But also, I mean, bullshit. They don't fucking tell us. That's just a Foxman fan's interpretation.
Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be that deep where you're supposed to look at the date, like
But
scrutinize the
they
date.
zoom in. Like
They
that
do.
is
They
it's a
zoom in.
close up. That's the
I think
first thing you see. So I'm like,
Yeah,
or
but
why is it
I
that
it
date?
has to be because Tony's alive. It has to be because Tony's alive. They don't give a shit about Deadpool 2
I think it's probably just because to
before
establish
the
that
blip.
this movie firmly takes place in 2024. It's just showing that it takes place years before, right? I think
That's
that's
true.
for me. That's how I took it. I didn't think anything specific at the date.
I think all of them together because you have to show that
Right?
Tony's still alive.
Yeah. Who knows what Sean Levy did, right? But the best parts of the movie for me is when it's not in the void because in my opinion it slows down significantly when it's in the void, when you get the cameos, and also we didn't even talk about like any technical stuff, but I thought the action in the compound was just so choppy because
Oh
it's
yeah, it
just
was all
like,
shaky cam. Yeah. Yeah,
right.
but the Honda Odyssey, I think, fight saves that. The Honda Odyssey close quarters action sequence, I
On
think,
Odyssey Fox.
is yeah, it does. I
Fox.
think honestly, I would put it as in the top 5 action sequences of the MCU easily, easily. And I would put maybe even like, possibly number 1 in the entire Deadpool trilogy. That's how good that action sequence
Oh,
is. It's so
yeah, maybe we just
dynamic,
watched.
close quarters.
Is it a good needle drop? It's all there.
I don't know. I think for me the peak was the opening and then the first fight in the void, and then everything else kind of
Diminishing
action wise
returns.
for me was diminishing returns, especially the oneer. Dude, the oneer,
Yeah.
it felt a
No,
little
don't
bit
even,
kind of,
don't even, don't even.
it felt lazy that they're covering the thing in blood so you don't even see it. You just see the output of it when they jump out the
That was
back,
the end of
all
it, bro. That
CGI.
was the end
But
of
the
it,
fact,
bro.
like
And you see
you're
Wolverine,
cutting corn,
and you see him like
you're
going all fours, like that was so sick. Come on,
it's
golly,
incomprehensible.
bro.
It's incomprehensible when all the characters look exactly the same. All
That's right.
right.
You
What are
don't
you
know where
looking
to
at? The
look, so you
yellow.
only look
I'm
at
looking at
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
But
I
then
know what I'm
Yes.
looking at. You
you're
look at
missing half the
Wolverine all the
fight.
time.
Then you're missing half of the fight
That's
because
Yes.
all you
it's
need.
hard to find
That's all I
Ryan.
need. I don't give a shit about Deadpool. It's Wolverine, baby.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. This is called Deadpool and Wolverine, not just Wolverine.
That scene is a Wolverine scene. He puts it on the counter.
No, it's both of them. It's the both of them.
Mostly.
You know, I feel like I'm too much of a hater. I'm too much of a hater.
No, no,
No,
no,
no,
no. We're just busting your balls. We're
yeah.
busting your balls. But uh,
I think
is
overall,
there anything else we need to say to close out this discussion, boys?
Dude, I can talk about this movie for hours and not in a good way. No, I'm joking. But
I
like,
liked Chris Evans was great.
yeah, I think we didn't even
I'm
really
glad
go.
you
I think
enjoyed
Oh,
all
it.
of the
I know Alvan actually
cameos.
didn't like that.
I think all of the
I'm glad you
cameos are
enjoyed it.
actually really well done. I think, like, I don't know if I'm going to go as far as saying, because Sean Levy kept saying, like, oh, we actually stepped away from using the word cameos. We're using the word supporting cast or supporting actors. I'm like,
Ah, fuck off.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think they're still
Fuck
cameos,
off.
but they have a little bit more to do, and I do appreciate, like, I think Elektra, Jennifer Garner is really great. Wesley Snipes is great. Channing Tatum, Daphne Keane, and Human Torch. That was really funny until I'm gargling Juggernuts, Juggernuts. Yeah,
It's like the best
it's
line in
fun.
cinematic.
It's really, really good. It's a great line. He delivers it really well. So I think there's a lot of really great fun to be had. And I'm really curious for where this movie would rank in the entirety of the Fox universe for you and also the MCU. Like, I think even though this movie has a lot of issues, I would say I probably enjoy it more than most of the MCU movies because I really like the characters and it's really I think it does go by pretty fast. It's a fun movie, and also, I mean, I really like these characters more than the Avengers and the MCU in general. But I would say, when it comes to the Foxverse, I think, like, I would put it in the B tier. I think it's a little bit. I would put it weaker than X-Men Apocalypse and Kazooie, and I would be right there, snug right under those two, and it's in the B tier. So I put S tier, which is like X2, Days of Future Past, Logan. A plus tier is X-Men 1. Sorry, it would be Deadpool 2, X-Men 1, First Class, Deadpool 1, and
X1 is better than First Class.
I do. I love X-Men 1. The movie's really, really good. I think all of the actors are great, and really, really great action sequences. I think that would be my A tier, and then the B tier is Apocalypse, Kazooie, and Deadpool and Wolverine. And then the rest is, no one really talks about that. Like Dark Phoenix, Last Stand, Origins, and then probably New Mutants.
Mutants is the worst movie, one of the worst movies I've seen in my life.
No, that belongs to Maxine. That title belongs to Maxine. That was honestly one of the worst.
That movie is a painful movie for me.
That's a terrible movie. Maxine is a terrible.
It's not like it's a bad movie. It's not like New Mutants. New Mutants sucks. I'm happy.
New Mutants is just boring.
New Mutants isn't even in the credits. New Mutants isn't even in the credits of this movie. What does that say? Is that there's not one shot of this or Dark Phoenix?
True.
So that makes me happy. As an X-Men fan, that makes me happy. There was not Dark.
There was no Last Stand either, though, was there?
I thought there was. There for sure was.
Time to rewatch the movie then.
Yeah. Actually, no, there was only one. It was the bridge.
Yeah.
The Magneto Bridge.
Oh yeah, that's why the pawns go first.
That's not even that scene though.
The Golden State Bridge, I know, but I'm saying that's his line from that movie.
No, I had to check you there. You didn't know.
No, I knew what you were referring to when you said it. I finished my sentence before you said it.
All right.
But as I think as we're closing this video out, is there a lot of problems with the story? Yeah, there are negatives with this movie, as there are with a lot of movies. We all want it to be better. We want it to be on the level of the other Deadpool movies, and of the X-Men movies, because not only do they mean so much to us, it's just they've set the standard and the bar so high that, like, I mean, you have Days of Future Past, one of the best movies, if not the best movie of all time. You have Logan, you have Deadpool 1,
X2.
You have just all these X2, First Class. You just have so many good X movies that obviously for us our expectations will be higher, and it unfortunately was not met. But I think, as Alvan was saying, like, yeah, we can focus on the negative, but also there's a lot of positives, and it's almost more fun to look at the excitement we had from it, because I won't forget, I saw it back to back in the Thursday, Friday. I bought the popcorn bucket. I bought the poster the day after on Friday. I saw it again yesterday. Like, it's just, we obviously wanted a better movie, but it's still fun, and I think, as Amir was saying too, just to close out, it's better than most of the MCU movies, because I think the MCU movies really are nothing sandwiches. That's what.
Yeah, and then one thing I want to say too is this ties back to what Alvan was saying. I think even though we're going into the negatives, we all really, really enjoyed this movie, and I think it's important, like, because I think you can find all these other videos that are talking about all the incredible pros of the movie. I think it's really important just to at least hear some people talking about some of the negatives, so you can kind of think about it more critically. Because, like, Alvan, you were asking, were you watching this movie wrong, essentially? Like, oh, are you being too harsh on this? I definitely don't think that's the case. Like, saying, oh, this is a Deadpool movie, you don't need to be thinking, I 100% agree. That's a terrible excuse to think for any movie, where it's like, oh, you're just have a good time, turn your brain off. I don't think that's a valid excuse. So I'm happy that for this little hour that we had, we were able to just kind of go into this stuff maybe you're not hearing online. You know, really just kind of going into some of, I think, our issues that maybe you guys share, you know? And it was yeah, we get it. You love the popcorn bucket. You need to honestly do the Thanos and get the other ones. Get the other one. Get the masks. The default mask. Yeah.
I will, because for people who don't know, I have a Wolverine claw, and those swords are actually a reference to the Wolverine, actually.
Yeah, they're not references to Bleach. They're references to Wolverine.
Exactly. Alvan,
anything else, Alvan, you wanted to say?
I feel like I could have said more, but also, you know, it's just an ongoing conversation with me. Like, some days there's really good parts that I really enjoy, but that doesn't excuse the stuff that didn't land with me. But it's up to you as a fan and a moviegoer on how you want to enjoy the things that you consume. And you know, we had a good conversation, and I think if I do watch it again, I hope that I see it how Omid sees it or how Amir saw it, where it's like, yeah, I want to be part of the group that enjoys. I want to be part of the group that has fun with it because this movie just means so much to all of us, right? You, me, Omid, Amir, right? Owen, Nick, Keon, B, like so many people respect these characters, and I just wish that it was handled with more respect how I would have handled it. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we even got this movie is an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Well said.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to be the end of our discussion, guys. I know it came out a little bit later, but we wanted to really let it kind of sit, really let it marinate, let the hype sit aside. And I think we had a really, really, really great discussion. I'm happy we got Omid into it, and we got Alvan into it. We really got 3 different kind of viewpoints. And if you guys saw the movie, let us know how many times you guys have seen it. What do you give it out of 10? Because I don't think we gave our scores. Alvin said 5 out of 10. I think I'm around like a 7 or like a 7.5, maybe 8-ish. Like probably 7.5 is a more valid. Only, what do you give it before we close it off?
I think if you asked me last week, I think the response would be a little bit different. I think probably on my 3rd watch, I'll probably put it at a. Cause
Give it a B.
I give it an 8. Yeah, cause I think the other Deadpool's are 9, 9.5. I think this is just as a Wolverine fucking glazer. I can't give it any less than an 8.
For sure. I mean, that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. And, we're going to have more videos coming out soon. We already had our Doctor Doom one, Doomsday. So we're just going to keep having consistent uploads on here. And like we said, we're going to be having a title defense coming very, very soon. It's going to be on 2015's Fantastic Four. I think it works perfectly with having watched this being a goodbye to the Fox universe. And I think you guys are going to be seeing this in a different perspective now because of Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah?
Wait, was it the Chris Evans one or Fantastic?
I said 2015 Fantastic Four. Use your fucking brain.
Oh, Fantastic, my bad.
No, Fantastic Four 2015.
Oh.
That's what it's called.
Is it Fanforstic? Isn't it? It's spelled Fanforstic?
That's how it's stylized on the poster.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, bro. All right, bro.
This is going to be a really, really good discussion. I really hope you watch this one, Alvin. Because both of you guys, I don't know if they know, but I think Omid's title defense of Eternals, he did not finish the movie. Alvin, his title defense fighting me on Dark Phoenix, he did not finish the movie. These two guys
I don't know why
so
he didn't watch that. As a
Eternals,
Dark
you did
Phoenix
not.
hater,
Eternals,
I
you
was
did
at.
not.
No, I agree. No,
You weren't on the Dark Phoenix video. Does it fucking matter? You weren't on that video.
No. Alvin says that you constructed a narrative. I don't think Amir constructed a narrative. I think Alvin just didn't come prepared. I would fight him on Dark Phoenix on how shit that movie is.
We should do it again. Redux.
I agree. Run it a
Dark
rebound.
Phoenix.
I would love that,
Run it back.
actually. Yeah.
Run it back.
Yeah, of course you would love it. You get any chance you get to talk about Dark Phoenix in a good light, huh?
No, it'd be great to fight you back. I don't know why my camera is blurry right now, but I would love to fucking smoke you again on that movie. I would love that
You'll
shit.
smoke Alvin. You ain't gonna smoke me. You ain't gonna smoke me, man.
Oh, you're gonna be there too?
I'll come prepared.
100% I'm gonna be there.
Okay, for sure, for
I'll come
sure.
prepared.
For sure.
Good luck.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, that's been us guys from What Would You Think? It's been me, Amir.
It's been me, Alvin.
It's me, Omid.
Have a great one, guys. See you next time. I don't know why the fuck I'm still blurry though.